Good morning.
Hi.
Starting with mountain poses, ground your feet into the mat. Open up your hands, keep your hands active and fingers spread, nice and wide, palms facing out. And we're just gonna practice some 3-part breathing. So as you inhale, think about filling the belly, move up to the ribs, and all the way up to the chest. So just some nice, deep 3-part breathing, belly, ribs, chest. On the exhales, you're going nice and slow and in reverse. Chest, ribs, belly. Belly deflates with that exhale and inflates with the inhale. One more big 3-part breath. Belly, ribs, chest, really filling up the lungs, using all your diaphragm capacity. And then we're going to turn to the mat. We're going to just do a half down dog. So just lowering easily onto the mat. Hips are right over your knees. Hands are just stretched straight out in front of you. For a half down on there. Again, keeping the fingers active, nice and wide. And just 5 breaths here at your own pace. Stretching, moving, elongating that spine. And then up onto your hands and knees. And rounding into cat. So inhale, rounding that spine, pushing the mat away from you, dropping the belly, lifting the chin and chest. Exhale to cow. So moving through that cat and cow pose. Again, not forgetting the breathing, connecting breath to movement. And for our next pose, it's thread the needle, so the hips push back onto the heels, right arm laces under the left. And just what's accessible to you. If that feels too much on your shoulder, loosen up that stretch. So stretching to thread the needle. Keeping that breath in mind and then switching to that opposite side. So stretching one fingertip to the top of the mat, the opposite hand to the side wall. Good, and then working your way up to standing. Again, grounding those feet into the mat, hands straight up overhead. If this is too much on your shoulder, you can just bring the hands to the center of your chest. And then with your breath, just a standing side bend, so bending to the right. Keeping the top shoulder pulled back. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, that opposite side. And inhale, back up to center. And sun breath here. So inhaling, the hands sweep up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, hands on your shins or your thighs. Slight bend in the knees. That feels comfortable. And then inhaling all the way up. And exhale those hands back down to mountain. One more time, big sun breath. Inhale up. Slight bend in the knees. You can do a little back bend here if that's comfortable. And exhale down. Inhale to that halfway lift. Exhale and swan dive, reaching the hands back up towards the ceiling. And back to mountain. So going down to a modified plank, so on your knees, hands straight out in front of us. And you can lift up through the knees, you can alternate one knee at a time. And 3-part breaths right here. Holding whatever version of the plank works for you. Belly, ribs, chest when you breathe, and chest, ribs, belly on that exhale. Moving to all fours again, to bird dog, so opposite arm and opposite leg. So pull in from the core, nice straight spine, gaze is looking down at your mat, lifting right arm and left leg. Again, with breath. And then you're going to switch sides. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Using that breath to lift the heel and the thumb. Good. And then just resting down. Hips back on your heels. We're just going to do a quick recovery breath here. So it's inhale for 3 and out for 5. So just a nice big inhale. Exhale out for 5. Nice and slow. Inhale for 3. Exhale for 5. And rising back up onto your feet for our sun salutation. So inhaling those hands up. Exhale to our forward fold. Hands come down to the mat. You can just step the feet straight back out to plank. And we're going to exhale straight down. So you can have your chest on your mat, chest sits first. Ooh. Inhaling up to either cobra or up dog. Whatever feels better for you, reverse those feet. Exhaling back to our downward facing dog here. And then we're just going to roll here to a high plank. So rolling into a high plank. Keep the spine extended and just taking it for 5 of our nice slow push-ups. So as you exhale, elbows brush the rib cage and inhale. So nice slow push-ups. 2. Good, using your breath. That's 3. Good, nice controlled breathing. That's 4. 1 more. You got this. That's 5. All right, take another nice big breath here. Remember that 3-part breathing when we get into here. And here, moving into warrior pose. So warrior pose is 1 foot parallel to the short end of the mat, opposite foot, toes facing forward, heel lines up with the arch of that back foot, arms open nice and wide. Your gaze can come over the front hand, And again, that nice 3-part breathing. This is a good spot in our session to have a cognitive declaration. So that's just something that you can say to yourself when things get hard. Like, I am strong. I am balanced. I am focused. So
I am strong.
So holding that warrior 2.
I am focused. I am strong.
And use that cognitive declaration or an anchor phrase to keep that focus.
I can do it.
Keeping everything in line, palms facing down, pulling the shoulders slightly back, and making sure this knee is tracking with that hip so it's not sinking in one side or the other.
I am balanced.
Good. And then rising up, both toes facing the same side of the mat. We're going to go to warrior hand. So your right hand's going to go in to the palm of your left open palm. So make a fist and then sinking straight down into warrior pose. And holding here and using that cognitive declaration.
I am strong. I'm focused.
And is this a challenge or a threat?
Challenge.
Challenge or threat?
Challenge.
And rising up. And then switching our warrior 2, so opposite foot faces forward. Just find that nice stance, palms open wide. And practicing that 3-part breathing here. And then all 10 toes facing forward again. Right hand open wide, left fist into that right hand sinking down for that horse pose. Challenge or threat?
Challenge.
Challenge or threat?
Challenge.
And using the power of the mind and that cognitive declaration to stay strong in that pose.
Strong.
3-part breathing.
Balanced. Focused.
Nice. We're going to move down to the mat to a side plank. So several versions of this. You can do a side plank with a single arm. You can do a side plank on a forearm with that bottom leg down. You can do it here, feet straight, feet are nice and stacked, and you lift. So again, use that cognitive declaration when things get tough.
I'm focused.
You're focused, you're strong.
I am strong.
The shaking is good. Shaking is those small muscles. Challenge or threat?
Challenge. Focused.
Challenge or threat?
Challenge.
Dropping down, let's switch to that opposite side.
Oh.
So again, picking the variation of a side plank that works for your body today. And lifting those hips, you can lift a top arm. You can always scale down and drop a knee if that feels better for you. We're a little different on each side, so just noticing that. Challenge or threat?
Challenge.
Good, and keep breathing, using that 3-part breath. Good, and then onto the mat, we're gonna lift the knees and hips up for a downward facing dog.
Strong.
Letting the heels sink into the mat. And then dropping down to all fours. For cat and cow again here. Hang on to that breath. Arching that spine with your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Nice big belly breaths. Good. And then seat on the mat. Just rolling back onto your back. Hands out to a T for a gentle supine twist. So engaging the core, dropping both knees to the right, looking to your left. And keep breathing. And then bringing those knees back to center and dropping them to that opposite side. You can turn your head the opposite direction if that feels comfortable. Good, and then sitting all the way up. Nice and tall, shoulders are right over the hips for a seated forward fold. So just reaching forward. You can have a bend in those knees. Stretching all the way forward, and again, belly, ribs, chest with the breath. Good, and then moving into pigeon. So the right knee is going to come between your hands, left leg is going to slide back. And this is a version of this. You can also fold all the way down, putting a little bit more of your body weight on that stretch. So pigeon pose here. Use the breath. Sink into that pose. And then switching up sides. So opposite leg comes forward. The other leg stretches back. And you can fold forward and stay up on your arms. There's a place you could use a block on the side of that hip. And focus on the breathing as you stretch.
Oh, I'm focused.
And then dropping back onto your rear. Bottoms of the feet are going to come together. Kind of shift the hips forward a little bit to cobbler's pose. The spine stays nice and tall. Using your 3-part breath. And then laying prone on our mat, shifting to Sphinx pose here. So prone on the mat, elbow creases are right underneath the shoulder. Pushing from the forearms up to Sphinx pose. Remind yourself here of that cognitive declaration. Good. And from here, just a gentle shoulder opener If you have an injured shoulder, you may not want to do this one. So just opening the right hand up to the side and gently rolling back, opening up through that shoulder. Take it nice and easy, use your breath. And then switching to that opposite side. And rolling over all the way to your back. This is the neural reset part of our session. So we're just going to focus on the breath here. Focus on working all that stress out of our body. So recovery breath here, so that it's the in for 3 and exhaling for 5. So nice slow recovery breaths. In for 3, exhaling for 5. You can let the muscles of the face soften here, tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth, eyes roll to the back of the head. In for 3 and out for 5. Breathing air into any part of the body that you feel is bothering you or that you notice. Imagine sending that nice warm breath down to it. Inhaling nice big inhales for 3 and exhaling for 5. Using that breath to let the body relax. In for 3. Out for 5. Then in for 3. Slow exhales out for 5. Inhaling for 3. Exhaling for 5. And then just go to a normal breathing pattern. Relaxing into the mat. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable. Let everything just relax. on your next big breath, just stretch those hands straight up overhead, wiggling the fingers and toes. Big full morning stretch. And rolling to one side. And taking your time, pushing all the way up to seated. Thank you for joining me today.
Excellent practice. Thank you. Oh, that's excellent.